Hello there. Welcome to today's Make It Monday. Today we're working on the cable slouch hat. This is an intermediate to advanced hat style because the stitches we're going to be using are half double crochet, front post double crochet, and back post double crochet, and treble front post treble crochet. And so I really hope that you already know the stitches. This hat is pretty tricky, so I'm not going to be taking a lot of time to really teach how to do the stitches. So please, if you don't already know the stitches, look them up somewhere and have them mastered so that then we can get ready to do the hat. So that said, let's go into our supplies. Our yarn is going to be a medium weight yarn. This yarn, I do not remember the brand, and I've had it for a really long time. But it's the perfect amount of yarn. It's the perfect weight. It's a middle weight yarn that's, if you are looking at like a Lion brand woolies, then it's the same weight and the same size of thread. And I mean, this could be a Lion brand. I'm not entirely sure. I've had this yarn for so long and I lost the wrapper, so I don't know. But this is a really good size yarn to use. You're going to want to use a yarn that basically calls for like an I or a J or a K size hook. We're going to be using 2 crochet hooks with this hat. The body of the hat is going to be a K, and the brim of the hat is going to be an I. You're going to want a stitch marker for, it's only going to be for one of the rounds, but you're going to want to use it. Of course, scissors to cut your yarn, and the needles to sew in your ends. So with that said, I'm going to get things out of the way that I don't need right now, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with the hat. So we're just going to start it the way we always start a hat, with a circle. So chain 3, and then we're going to close the chain, and then we'll get started because, you know, it's a hat and we're working in rounds. So we're closing that, chain 2, and let's find the center of that circle. This is always the part that I really hate. Yarn over. We're doing half double crochets here through the middle of the circle. So we're going to be doing 7 of them. We're counting that first 2 chains as a stitch. So we're going to have a total of 8 stitches in this round. So I've done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to slip stitch to the first chain 2. Okay, here's my tail. It's going to be the inside of my coat, not my coat, my hat. So I've just closed it. Now for round 2, I'm going to chain 1. That chain 1 from now on is never ever going to count in this hat. And then I'm going to do 2 front post double crochets around every stitch. And that's going to come out to 16 stitches. All right? You're going to start going around that chain 2 stitch. I decided to just go ahead and let that chain 2 let its thing fly because nobody's going to see it anyway. So we're going to end up with a total of 16 stitches in this round. We're doing the front post double crochets, so we're working around the stitch, not in the stitch, if you understand. So that was 1. That's 2. And we will keep going around. And then for round 3, we're going to end up repeating this pattern. So it's going to be chain 1, and then it will be, wait a second, I boo-booed. Didn't I? Yes, I did. I got so busy talking, I forgot what I was doing. So we will, after we join, we will chain 1, and we'll do 2 front post double crochets around every stitch of the next round, so then it will be 32 stitches. But right now we have to complete round 2, so we're doing how many? 16. And I've got that little bit of a schmutz, a little bit of a pull right here. I'm not really worried about it, because when I'm done with this hat, when it's completed, it will have a pom-pom. I'm going to be putting on a natural, or not a natural, a faux fur pom-pom. And I sew it on with a button, or not a button, with a snap. I bought faux fur pom-poms through Amazon. You can also get them at Joann Fabrics and Michael's, and I'm sure you can also get them from Hobby Lobby if you shop there. Okay, so I've done my 16. Now I'm going to slip stitch to my first front post double crochet. Okay, so see, I went in the stitch, yarn over, and I pull through. So I just completed round 2. And I'm going to repeat this for round 3. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera because I already explained what we need to do. So I'll catch up with you at the end of round 3. All right, I'm back. As you can see, I just finished up round 3. I have a total of 32 stitches in this round. So now we're going to go on to round 4, and we're going to have 48 stitches. For this round, you're going to do 2 front post double crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 in the next, around the next. I shouldn't say in, it's around. So chain 1, remember the chain 1 forevermore is not going to count. So I'm going to do 2 front post double crochets, 1, 2 around that first stitch, and then 1 around the next stitch. All right, then 2 around the next, 1, 2, and then 1 around the next. So it's 3 per grouping, if you want to look at it that way. So we're going to have 48 stitches going around. As you can see, it's starting to ruffle a little bit. That's okay. That's expected. Don't worry if it doesn't. Also, just a side note, you don't want to pull too hard when you're and make it too tense when you're crocheting. Have a pretty nice, a good tension, a good solid tension, but not too tight, not too loose. That's something that you get with practice, but if you're making this hat, then you've had practice. All right, so I'm going to turn off the camera so that we can get working on finishing round 4, and I will catch up with you at the end of this round, and we'll start working on round 5. All right, so we just finished round 4. We have 48 stitches. You notice it's more ruffly, and that's okay. It's going to keep getting ruffly, and then the edges are going to start curling, and that's to be expected. So don't worry if your hat does this, because it probably will. It has every single hat that I've made, and I've made a number of these. So the next round is round 5, and this is when we are starting our cables. So the next round is going to have a total of 56 stitches. And this is when we're also going to be pulling in our front post treble crochets. This is also when you want to pull out your stitch marker. This is the round we use our stitch marker. And let's go ahead and get started. So first we're going to chain 2. This chain 2 does count, Okay, this is the only time your chains are going to count in the beginning of a round, the entire hat. Got it? Just in round 5. It's going to count as our first half double crochet. And so now we are going to start doing our front post treble crochets. So to do that we are going to yarn over twice. We're going to skip our first 3 stitches and go into and work around the 4th one. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3 and work around the 4th. And it's just like a front post double crochet, except we have 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's our first front post treble crochet. Oh, and this is our first cable, by the way. So forgot to tell you that. So now we're going to repeat this in the next 2 stitches. So yarn over twice, work around the next stitch, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to repeat that one more time. Yarn over twice. We're going to work around the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Got it? So now this is where our stitch marker is going to come in. You're going to put the stitch marker in that last stitch that we just worked around, because we're going to be coming back to that stitch and doing something in it later. But first, we've got to finish our cable. So we're going to yarn over twice, and then we're going to go back to the very first stitch that we skipped. And remember, we're always working from right to left. So we're going to go around that first stitch, or through, or whatever, however you want to describe it. And we're going to do our first front post treble crochet around that one. Okay? Then we're going to go through around the one that we skipped. Got it? So front post treble crochet. And we're going to do it again on the next one that we skipped. Front post treble crochet. Okay? So now it looks like this big old blob, and that's okay. This is when we're going to start pulling it out. So see right here where we marked the stitch, we're going to be doing a half double crochet in that stitch that we marked. So just going to stick my hook right where the stitch marker is and make my stitch, pull out my stitch marker, save it for later, because now I'm going to do this entire process again, because we're going to be making 8 cables. I just started my first. So I'm going to skip my next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Go into number 4, or go around number 4. And I'm doing a front post treble crochet. And then I do it around the next one. And then around the next one. Front post treble crochet. So then now I'm going to go back to the first stitch that I skipped. So that's back here. And then I'm going back to the second stitch that I skipped. And I work around that one. And then I go back to the third stitch that I skipped. And I work around that one. Oh, crud. You know what? I forgot to put my stitch marker in. Okay, so quick. We're going to pretend that I put it in when I did, or back then. So, see? Now you're going to go back to your stitch marker and you're going to do a half double crochet in that stitch. Pull out your stitch marker and you're going to be using it again. I'll go through and do this one more time so that you can see. All right, so I'm going to be making another front post treble crochet, skipping 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. And have you noticed that each cable has 6 stitches? So 1, 2, and here's my third one. This time I'm going to remember to put my stitch marker in. Okay. Putting the stitch marker in the stitch I just worked around. So then I'm going back to the first stitch that I skipped. And I'm doing my front post treble crochets. Remember, we are always working right to left. I mean, I suppose you could work left to right if you're a lefty. And then I have no idea how you would translate everything that I'm doing. But if you can do that, then that's awesome. Okay. That's my third cable. So then I'm going to be doing a half double crochet in the stitch that I marked. All right. So this, I've started 3 cables. I'm going to turn off the camera and I'm going to go work on 5 more cables. When I am done with that, I'll turn the camera back on and I'll catch up with you at the end of round 5 so that I can show you how to start round 6. And so ends round 5. I've finished up my cable. Now I'm going to be connecting it to the end of the round. So what you want to do is you're going to slip stitch in that space between the first chain 2 and the first front post treble crochet. For round 6, we are going to be increasing through our half double crochets. So we're going to be doing, how do I want to put this? So we're going to do 2 half double crochets in each double crochet, starting right here. So we're going to do that chain 1 that doesn't count, and I'm going to end up doing 2 half double crochets in this space because I didn't actually have a half double crochet right there. My chain 1 space, or my chain 2 ended up counting as my half double crochet. Now we're going to be doing front post double crochets around the beginning of the cable. First we're going to be going around the buried ones, and then we're going to be going around the front ones. So yarn over, find that first buried stitch, front post double crochet. Then go to the next buried stitch, front post double crochet. Then we have one more buried stitch to go around, front post double crochet. And then we're going to go around the top 3. The obvious 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in that half double from my last round. 1 and 2. And that's going to open up my cable some. So if you notice, this round we do 2 half double crochets, 6 front post double crochets. That's the pattern all the way around. So because this is round 6, we are going to have 64 stitches going around. And it looks kind of like a flower at this point. I think it's pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera. I'm going to work on this, and then I will catch up with you at the end of round 6 so we can start working on round 7. See you soon. All right, so round 6 is done. We have 64 stitches in this round, and the next round, round 7, is going to be our last round where we're increasing. So we'll be increasing by 1 more half double crochet in each of those spaces between the cables. We're still going to be doing 6 stitches per cable, and the cables are still going to be the front post double crochet. There's not going to be any twisting or anything. So that said, I'll go ahead and show you. So that useless chain 1 stitch, and then we're going to be doing 2 half double crochets in that first stitch, and then 1 half double crochet in the next stitch. Then I'm going to do front post double crochet around each of the 6 that I did last round. And I'm almost there. There we go. And then I'm going to be, again, doing 2 half double crochets in the first half double, and then 1 in the next one. So I have 3 half double crochets. And then I'm going to do 6 front post double crochets around the next 6 front post double crochets. Okay? So we're going to be doing this all the way around for all 8 cables and all 8 spaces until we have gotten 72 stitches. All right? So this is what it's looking like so far. We're still ruffly. It actually ends up being a little bit less ruffly. It's going to start curling. That's totally okay. But we'll just keep going around. And you see that the cable is starting to flatten out. That's okay. We're going to end up doing 3 rounds that are going to have the front post double crochets, and then we're going to do 1 round with the front post treble crochets. So each repeat is going to be 4, but we still have to get to the point where we can start repeating. So that said, let's work on this round, which is 3 half double crochets and then 6 front post double crochets. Got it? So we're going to have a total of 72 stitches at the end of this round. And I'll turn off the camera and I'll catch up with you at the end so that we can go over round 8. Okay then. We have finished round 7. We now have 72 stitches around. We are not increasing anymore. So this is the round. Round 8 is where we're finally going to start working without increasing at all. This round is a simple pattern. It is 3 half double crochets, 6 front post double crochets, all the way around. I'll go ahead and show you the first time. Chain 1, and we're going to half double in each of the half double crochets, and then front post double crochet around each front post double crochet from the last round. So we have a pattern of 3 and 6. And it flattens out our cable some more. All right, see? This is how it's looking. And then that's what it looks like on the table, so flattened out. You see I'm very curly right here, and when I do this, it kind of flattens out the curl a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera so that we can all work on doing our half double crochets and our front post double crochets. And then I will meet you at round 9, which is when we start working on our second cable, our second set of cables. So I'll see you later. All right, so now we have finished round 8, and you see my edges are curled. I told you that's going to happen. That's totally okay. Our cables have been flat. We've just well, they haven't been flattened, kind of, but we just finished our first set of cables. So now we're going to start with our second set of cables, but this time I'm going over it because we don't have to do any increases like we did with starting our first set of cables. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to be doing our 3 half double crochets. So chain 1, and then 1 half double crochet per half double from the last round. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now we're going to be skipping the first 3. So yarn over twice. Skip the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Work around the 4th one. 1. So yarn over, pull through 2, 3 times. Thrice. Okay, so yarn over 2 times. Go work around the next stitch. Pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2 for a front post treble crochet. And repeat. We should know how to do that by now, okay? Front post treble crochet is actually one of my favorite stitches. We're going to go back to the stitches that we skipped and do the front post treble around those. That was the first one. This is the second one. And this is the third one. Got it? Now we're going to do our 3 half double crochets. So yarning over once. Okay? And then we repeat that process and start and do the cable again. Start the next cable. So yarn over twice, skip the first 3. 1, 2, 3, go to the 4th one, and do our front post treble crochet, and then do our next front post treble crochet in the next stitch, and then front post treble crochet in the next stitch. Oops, I hit the camera. And then we're going back to the ones that we skipped to do our front post treble crochets around them. So this is the second one. And this is my third one. So now you get the picture of what we're doing in round 9. And I'm going to do my 3rd half double crochet, and then I'm going to put this down so that you can see how I have my next set of cables getting started. So I'll go ahead and turn the camera off again, and I will see you when we're at the end of round 9 so I can go over round 10. See you soon. Okay, so round 9 is now done. We started our second set of, our second set of cables. So now we've got to work on the cables. And that's going to be very similar to round 8, where we chain 1 and then 3 half doubles. You know, that's just standard from now on. And then we're going to do our front post double crochets, first starting with the buried stitches. That's the first one. So we have 6 front post double crochets. we have 3 buried stitches and 3 non-buried stitches. So this is my 3rd buried, and then this is number 5, and this is number 6. Oopsie. This is number 6. All right, and then I'm going to be doing my front post. No, I keep using the wrong words. My half doubles. I do 3 of them, and this is just going the pattern that's going to repeat around this round. And we're going to then, after this, do 2 more rounds like this. So it's going to be basically rounds 10, 11, and 12 are all pretty much the same. So we're going to do 3 half double crochets and then 6 front post double crochets. So they're going to be, we're going to have 72 stitches. So this is for rounds 10, 11, and 12. We're doing the exact same thing for all 3 of the levels. Levels, not levels, rounds. Really the only difference is that because we're in round 10, we're kind of flattening out the cable, and so we have to find those hidden stitches. But in 11 and 12, we're not going to be finding hidden stitches. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, turn off the camera, and catch up with you at the end of round 12. Okay, so I'll see you soon. Okay, so we're done with round 12. As you can see, we have the beginnings of a hat shape. So exciting. And you can see also that my edges are still curling. This is going to happen until I put the rim on, so don't worry about it. We're going to keep getting longer. It's not going to keep going out to the sides like this. It's going to end up tapering, kind of going straight down as we add more rounds. But I did want to tell you that at this point, now, finally, after 12 rounds, we are at the point of repeating. So what I want you to do is I want you to repeat rounds 9 through 12 2 more times. So for rounds 13 through 24, we're going to do 2 more cables because we just finished up 2 cables, or our second cable. All right, so this is going to take a little while, and when we have gotten all the way down there, then, and you're ready to add the rim, I'll meet you at the end for the rim, and then we'll talk about that. So have fun crocheting. And remember, start over with the repeating round 9. Got it? See you soon. Alrighty, so as you can see, we have a hat forming. Woohoo! So I have done 24 rounds, so 4 cables, as I hope you can see. Now we're at the point where we're going to add the rib. So now you take out your larger K hook and you grab your I hook. And you insert that in your loop, and then we're going to alternate front post double crochet and back post double crochet. Since we have an even number of stitches, we should not have a problem. Oops, I forgot. I need to do 1 chain, and then I'm going to do a front post around my first half double crochet, and then I'm going to do a back post. So inserting from the back. And then I alternate and I do a front post double crochet. And then a back post. So I come in from the back, from behind. I tend to get my hook caught on things when I do back post double crochet. Alright, so then we just keep going all the way around like so, and we'll just keep going around, and I want you to repeat this about 4 rounds. So rounds 25 through 28, you're going to do the front and back post double crochets. And so then we're going to get a nice rib going on, so that you're going to be doing a front post double crochet around a front post and a back post double crochet around a back post. And I hope that makes sense. And I will see you at the end of round 28. All right, see you soon. Okay, so here we are. We are pretty much done with a hat. I left my very last stitch to do with you. See, I have my rib of front post double crochets and back post double crochets, so that's created a ribbing pattern. And then, as you can see, my very last stitch is a back post double crochet, and then I slip stitch into that very first front post double crochet. I'm going to cut my yarn and pull it through, and then I'm going to finish it off with my yarn needle. I really like these nice big eyes for yarn because they're very easy to thread. And I'm going to go on the inside of the hat, and this is what I have figured out works pretty well through trial and error. I like to basically do a bunch of knots. That way it won't come undone. Oh, let's do that. Okay. So I'm just going to go, let's do this. Go through. I accidentally pulled it up my yarn out of my needle, so I'm going to have to re-thread. And I'm going to keep going. I want to go this way so that I can kind of have knots as I do it, because I really don't want it to come undone. I think I'll do one more. Okay, and then I will just kind of knot through it, and that should be good and tight. And then I'll clip the yarn, and it's done. My hat is done. The only thing I have left to do, which I will do, and this is your choice, would be putting a tag and a pom-pom on. But this is it. This is our finished slouch cable hat. If you want to make it slouchier, then you do one more cable. If you want to make it less slouchy and more of a like a skull cap kind of beanie, you reduce by a cable, or even at the end of a cable. So yeah, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope you enjoy making more hats. Thanks. Bye.